All right, gonna do November 18 here with my Fallout 3 tin lunchbox, where I just did some movements on it and things like that. I've already made the sound. Going into making the sound, though, I decided I wanted to at least use one sound from each category. I basically split when I was editing the lunchbox recording. I split the sounds into like four categories. There was the latch flip, handle shakes, the handle shuffles, and turning the lunchbox over, kind of like rotating it. And I wanted to use at least one sound from each of those, and I think I ended up just using one sound from each. But then I've duplicated the sound and done different things to the duplications and things like that. But I got this cool little, almost sounds like something kind of like starting up, running something very quickly, and then shutting down something. You could probably use it for some type of machine, computer program, whatever. But first, let me have you go watch the video on the original recording that I did way back when, near the beginning of this month. So you can check that out right here. Okay, so that was the original recording that I did. Let's take a look at the main sound that I've created from that recording right here. So there you go. There's that. So we can break this down. So I found a chunk of me turning the lunchbox over. And what I did to that was just pitched it way down, like way down. 25 semitones. I left it on beats. I thought it sounded actually good on beats. I put a little bit of reverb on it. So I'm sitting at 35% reverb. Honestly, when you put RC48 reverb on something, it comes like this. The only difference is that it's a full wet signal, and all I did was just turn it down to 35%. And so that by itself sounds like that. Then there is the first handle shuffle. I believe I did stretch this. No, I didn't actually. This is just how it is. I didn't even pitch it or anything like that. But then I did add phases on here, almost a full stereo width. I turned this up to 1/64th notes on the beat. Kind of messed around with the centering, the mod mix. I turned on ultra. I went all the way up to 12 notches. And then cranked up the feedback and turned down the spread quite a bit. And then on top of that, I wanted to kind of beef up the sound a little bit more. So I cranked it by 10B into a saturator with my soft clip on. And then you end up getting this sound here. So there's that sound. And then I've got these handle shakes. So these handle shakes, I actually ended up doing quite a bit to them. So I did stretch these out. I left it on beats, though. Did not do any sort of pitching with it, so it's staying the same pitch. But then I added a corpus to it, switched it to pipe. It comes on beam, but I switched it to pipe. And then kind of just messed around with the circle here, tweaked a few knobs here and there, tossed an erosion on it. Left it on sine, and then just kind of moved this little circle around in the graph area until I got it. I did try to use a pedal distortion at one point. Didn't really like the way it sounded, so and then I added an EQ to it. I brought down some kind of like low mid frequencies, as I didn't really like those being so prominent. And then I did crank up some like mid high frequencies here. And then I did also chop off some just actual high frequencies. I thought it was a little bit too piercing and a little bit too bright for the vibe that I had ultimately decided to go in with this sound. So I went ahead, took out those, and then I added in a flanger, turned the wetness down though, all the way down to 25%, and also added a cabinet plugin to this, and then just turned off, or turned it from mono to dual here. And so with that, you get this. And so the beats is what is making that wobbly sound. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, that sounds pretty freaking dope. So I left it on beats. I didn't even try any of the other settings that I could have turned it to. I just left it on beats. And then I duplicated that sound. Turned the corpus to plate, messed around with more settings again, left the erosion, I think exactly the same. Yeah, the erosion is exactly the same. The EQ is the same. The flanger is the same. All I did was change the corpus on it and turned it down because of the new plate setting. This sounds a little bit more metallic. I wanted to get a little bit more of a metallic sound. So just with the plate change, you get this. And then if you play both of them together, that's what you get. Cool. So then there was a latch flip that I did. And with this, I had no idea what I wanted to do. And then I was just like, all right, just going to toss a vocoder on it. Ableton's just stock vocoder plugin. And messed around with the different settings that you can do, like right here. So there's noise, external modulator, and pitch tracking. Ultimately, with pitch tracking, it sounded pretty freaking wild when I did that. Had enhance on, messed around with the formants a little bit. I did try to use the unvoicing, but I didn't like it. It kind of took away from the actual pitch tracking sound that I got when I turned it to pitch tracking that I liked. Just get rid of that, so I didn't use any of the unvoicing. Added a drum bus, oddly enough, to it. The original sound is a little plucky, and so I thought I was like, all right, cool, that'd be cool. And so turned up the drive, switched over to hard mode, and cranked up the transients, the crunch. I did use the boom originally, but I didn't like it. I also had an echo on it, but once again, kind of found that I didn't like that, so I took it off. Did add the chorus, though. And then after all of that, I was like, man, I still don't necessarily like the way that this sounds. There's a lot of qualities to it that I do like, but ultimately, the sound I didn't like. And so I actually ended up then stretching this sound. I did use texture, kind of tweaked the grain size there a little bit, but I ultimately stretched it out and then ended up with this sound. Pretty freaking cool, fun sound. And that was after I had duplicated it. So I did duplicate it before I ended up stretching it out to this. I got rid of a lot of the plugins on it and then left the drum bus pretty much with all the same settings, except I cranked the boom up on this one and didn't do any stretching, any warping, any pitching with this, but I did just use that drum bus, and then this sounds like this. So you can hear that low end just kind of rings out a little bit there. And so both of those together, which these don't necessarily work together, they just happen to be the same sound, but we'll play them together for schlitz and giggles. Yay! Cool. And so after you play these all together here, you get this. So that was my Noisevember 18 sound right there. I hope you enjoyed that. And please let me know if you would like to see me work through these sounds from start, before I even have the direction of what I'm going to make. Just take it from scratch. Or if you like these types of videos where I'm just breaking the sounds down. Or you could just tell me to make videos where I don't even talk and it's maybe a time-lapse thing. let me know what you're vibing with, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.